Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Welcome to Dvar Torah class. We are up to Parshas Naso. Okay, Naso is the parsha this week, which is usually most times actually the parsha after Shavuos, sometimes before, but most years it's after. So in this parsha is a lot of interesting stuff. Actually, it's just a side note. It is the most psukim in the whole Torah. This parsha is 176 verses. It's the longest parsha in verses, and the same in it's 176. Actually, the longest psalm, 119, is 176 verses, and the longest Talmud, amount of pages, is a Talmud tractate called Baba Basra, has 176 pages. So anyway, so this is it's a very special parsha. So in this parsha, we talk about half of the parsha actually. That's why it's so long, because half of the parsha we talk about the Nasiim, okay, the Nasi, the what do you call them, the leaders of each tribe, the president of each tribe. Okay, those 12 presidents, 12, each tribe had their own Nasi, and they brought sacrifices. Okay, and Torah illuminates exactly, counts, uh, um, and enumerates, and
Oh
each
no.
has some verses.
Okay.
Uh, Before that, Torah counts what happened when they donated their stuff. What happened like this: that when all the when it goes back really in Parshas last in the book of Exodus and Shemos, when the people were supposed to donate stuff for the Mishkan, right, for the tabernacle. So then seeing the leaders said, you know what, let everyone bring, and whatever they don't bring, we'll bring. Wherever they don't, wherever's lacking, we'll fill in. That was a mistake calculation because after 2 days, everything that was needed was brought. And there's so much so they came to Moshe and those in charge, the monitors, and said, "There's so much stuff. Please don't bring any more. Don't need it. We don't need any more. We have plenty, even more than they need." So it's made an announcement. Don't bring anything. Oh, then the Nesiim were left out. There's nothing for them to bring. They brought the stones for the breastplate for the Kohen Gadol, the oil, but they couldn't really donate stuff for the Mishkan. So now, when Mishkan was actually finished, the Nasi, the leader of the tribe of Yisachar, his name was Nasana ben Suar, said, well, "How are we going to transport stuff in the Mishkan from one in the desert? It's an ohel moed. It's a temporary dwelling wherever the Jews are. They're going to set up the Mishkan, then they're going to move somewhere else. They're going to set up again. They have to, we're going to have to take it apart, take and move it to another place. What? It's going to fly in the air. How are we going to take it one place to the other? So let's donate. Let's donate wagons and bakar, which are bulls, that we're going to be able to transport the stuff, unpack it, or I won't say unpack it, take it apart, right? The tabernacle, and they'll put the stuff on the wagons, and then we'll move to the next place. They'll be able to set up again, and every time they move from one place to the other, they'll be able to take it apart, put it on the wagons, move to the second part, the location, next location, and then set it up, and so on and so forth. That's what they did for the next close to 40 years. So, what did they do? They donated 6 wagons, okay, and 12 bulls, 2 bulls, each wagon had two, and there's 6 wagons. Now, why do you need six? What was it used for? So, as we know, the tribe of the the Levi had 3 families: Gershon, Kahas, Merari. Gershon was the oldest, Kahas was the second, Merari was the youngest. So, who got the wagons? Well, um, Gershon carried stuff. They didn't have much heavy stuff, so they took 2 wagons. Merari they had a lot of heavy stuff, a lot of literally weight, all these sockets and all these beams and all that stuff. They got 4 wagons. So Gershon got 2 wagons, family of Gershon, to carry their stuff that they were assigned to carry. Merari got 4 wagons. They got the wagons to carry the stuff that they were assigned to carry. They were assigned to use. And what did Gahas do? They got no wagons. Why? Because they carry the really holy stuff. And the holy stuff, as you probably know, that they had like these beams to carry it with. Each, like for example, the Aron had these, these things hanging, and they carried it on their shoulders. These beams coming out of the actual or the altar, the table, the shulchan, the mizbeach. They will carry it on their shoulders. So again, Kahas got nothing. They didn't need. They carried everything on their shoulders wherever they travel, one place to the other. And Gershon got 2 wagons. Merari got 4 wagons. Now, you think about it. This is just basically the story, the parsha. Now, if you think about it a little, deeper, a lot what's going on here. Why is it those Nesiim, as I mentioned earlier, they want to forgive, want to fix up what they didn't do the first time. The first time they didn't donate, they didn't give as they're supposed to right away at the beginning. So they want to fix it. So this time they came first and said, let's donate these wagons. So, right? So if that's the case, why did each leader give a half a wagon? 2 wagons each? One bull, they couldn't give a wagon on their own. They couldn't give each one their own wagon. Why did they have to combine one? Why did each Nasi have to combine the wagon or donate together with another one? They were kind of a half a wagon each. It's you don't have poverty in a place of richness. In the Beit HaMikdash, you don't do things that are poor. You give a lot. And if you look in Talmud, in the tractate of Shabbat, and it talks there about carrying the Mishkan and how many wagons they needed and how they used the wagons, and the Talmud has a whole thing. How wide how long the wagons were, how big they were, how big the sockets were, and the beams and the wall, and how they fit it in, and what size, and all the details. How they managed to fit it in, because you talk about it, there's so many of all these sockets and all these beams and all that stuff. You're only going to use it with 6 wagons. You could have used much more space. Why don't you just give me more braids, more wagons, give more wagons, more space, make them bigger wagons?
Well, Rabbi, I'm awfully sorry for interrupting. There is no way 6 wagon can carry this load.
All right, see, now you have your homework.
It's impossible. We're talking about 1,000 pounds of load just from beam.
You are 100% right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you need to explain that. How did it happen?
Okay, so you're going to go to the Gemara and Talmud, Gemara Shabbos, and you look over there, and it'll tell you all the details. Okay, Gemara Shabbos. I think it's page 102, Amud 2. I think that's where it is, and the Gemara discusses details there, exactly how it worked and how they put the wagon and how all the details. And the question is, as I'm saying, it's right, as he's mentioned, it's so heavy, so weighty. Why can't they just use more? Why did they have to use minimum 4-6 wagons for so much stuff? We want more space, make it easier, right? And then it wouldn't have to be so squished, because the Talmud works out in a calculation exactly every inch. You won't believe it. Every inch, how it was used, and what was necessary, and how wide and how width, and exactly how they use every part to fit all these heavyweight, large beams and all that stuff, and how every inch every space was used to its fullest. The fit takes to carry so much stuff, right? So to understand all this, okay, we're going to let's here we go. It's like this, that what was the agalos, these wagons were not just a donation. Of course it was, but it was much more than that. This was part of the use of the Mishkan, part of the use of the tabernacle. This was part of, it wasn't like adding something to it. This was necessary for the actual Mishkan itself. Because why? Because this Mishkan was not made as a permanent residence, okay, of a permanent place for the Mishkan. It was made in a way they should be able to take it apart and relocate it, reset up somewhere else. So you needed the wagons, or part of the framework, if you will, or part of the, I'll find a better English word for it. It was part of the stuff that you needed for the Mishkan, right? These wagons. Now, everything, the Mishkan was exact. You're not allowed to have any part, okay, in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, that was not necessary. Then it comes chula, it comes a mundane. You, like, for example, you're not allowed to bring something that's not holy, a sacrifice, in the court of the temple. It's not going to be used for a sacrifice. If you want to, if it's brought into the temple, it has to be used as a sacrifice. You can't just bring in animals there and not have in mind for a sacrifice. Everything, every part, every space, and everything, was part needed for this, the whole picture. Okay, every part of the tabernacle. So, every part was used in its fullest measure, in the fullest potential that it was meant to be used, right? Used for. Now, God says, make for me a tabernacle, and I'll rest inside it, right? That means that every part of the Mishkan had to be used in its fullest. If there's any part that's not going to be used in its fullest measure, is a waste. It's not being used. It's not being utilized. If 1 inch, one part is not necessary to be there, then you're missing the point. Every part has to be used in its fullest measure. So, what are we saying here? So if the Mishkan could be, if 6 wagons could take all the stuff, by having a 7th wagon, you're using something that's not necessary, because you use the 6. Then the 6 will not be used properly. The 7th will be extra, and there's nothing extra. Everything, it has to be used in its fullest measure. There's nothing like, just, why not? It doesn't exist in the Mishkan. There's nothing, why not? Or maybe, why? It doesn't hurt anybody. Why not? No. Everything has to be used in its fullest measure. So since 6 is possible, that 6 wagons can do the job, then you need 6 wagons. So it's not like we should add. It's not, you're not supposed to add, because the 6 can do it. If 6 can do it, then you have to use 6. The fuller, use something in its fullest measure. And like it says, God did not create anything for nothing, for lavatala, for waste. If it's here, is a purpose. So if we're going to have an extra wagon, some part will be not necessary. It's lavatala, and that cannot be. You can't have anything with every part has to be used in its fullest, utmost, the fullest measure. Okay? So, it's not like we have, it's poverty. We're showing poverty in a place of riches. No, that's not the point here. The point here is that every single detail has to be used in its fullest measure. So if these 12 bulls can have the weight, have the capacity, the ability to schlep, to carry a certain amount of weight, if you're going to put less weight, then some part is not being used properly. Some part of the energy is not being used. If you have this amount of energy, this amount of space, you have to use the full measure that you have. And if one part is not used, the whole thing is no good. It affects everything. Because every part that you have has to be used in the fullest measure. So, what do we what do you learn from all this? There's nothing in the world that just like as in a Mishkan, we make a dwelling place, we make a Mishkan a sanctuary for God. The same thing in the world, and in right, the same thing in ourselves. In every single person, wherever we have to use in the fullest measure. We have to use everything we have to its fullest ability that God has given to us. If you don't use it in the fullest ability that God gave to us, something is wasted. Something is not being used properly. God's what you're not utilizing the abilities that God has given us. So, so if a person, let's say, has the ability to do a mitzvah, to study Torah, and doesn't use his fullest measure that he could, he's wasting. He's wasting that ability that God has given him. Somebody studies Torah. If you study Torah, I didn't wait for that. I study Torah. But if you can use your mind to study something deeper, more deeper, more, and you don't, it's wasting. I'm going to give you an example to explain what I'm saying. Let's say, as we know, it comes Purim, right? The halacha is that halacha is that you stop learning Torah to hear the Megillah. Mavatan Talmud Torah l'kriyas Megillah. You know the study. You to push. Let's say you have a class, study Torah. You're going to push away your class. You're going to cancel your class because you need to hear the Megillah. The obvious question arises: what do you mean? You null Torah, you push away Torah, start to hear the Megillah. So Megillah is also Torah reading. Isn't the Megillah Torah? Of course it's Torah. So what do you mean you're mavatal? You're null Torah study in order to hear the Megillah. It's Torah to Torah. You're not studying this Torah, you're studying that Torah. You're supposed to study Torah. Let's say you have a Talmud class. Okay, a deep Talmud class. And you're going to say, comes Purim, the night of Purim, no class tonight because we have to hear the Megillah. But Megillah is also Torah. So why is it called annulling? You annul Torah. And what's the explanation? The explanation is because when you are studying, let's say studying, I'm just an example, okay? Let's say studying Talmud or something Chassidus, a deep concept, and then that acquires a great concentration, a lot of devotion from your mind to understand this subject that you're studying. This Talmud or Chassidus, whatever it may be. When you're going to hear the Megillah, you're not using your mind in a very deep manner. You're just listening to Megillah. Yeah, it's Torah study, but you're not using so much energy from your mind. Your mind is not being so utilized. Are you going to say you're really, really using your mind and you're really deepening, you're concentrating, deepening the mind to hear the Megillah? Great energy from your mind? No, you're just listening. So that's why. So what you see from there is that if you're learning Torah, but you could do much deeper, and you don't, it's also you're missing something's missing. You're missing some energy, abilities that God has given you. You're not utilizing in the full measure. So back to what we're discussing here. The Mishkan is idea is he teaches to make a dwelling place for Hashem in this world, and we have to utilize every amount that God has given us. So therefore, we cannot use more than 6 wagons because it can be done with 6. And we're not going to use more than 6 balls because, 12. We're not going to use more than 12 balls because 12 is good enough. God has the effort, the ability to do everything you need. So you're not going to use more. No, we're not going to use another wagon or another bull because six can do the job. So what we learn from all this is that however much a person has studied Torah, if you have another moment to study Torah and you don't study, that moment is wasted. All the other time, that's very good, but that moment that wasn't studied wasn't used in the full measure, and God created you to use that time. So it teaches us how important, how valuable we have to value every moment that we have that God has given us to utilize in the fullest measure, and everything we have to utilize in the fullest measure because God did not give us anything fun to waste. And if when we use everything we have in the fullest measure, we'll bring the Shekhinah, or bring Godness down into the world and into our day-to-day life and our day-to-day wherever we make a dwelling place for God in this world. So thank everyone for joining, and I hope to see you, please God, next time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So in Torah, like six, every number there's a significance to. So
Correct.
the reason for six wagons, is there more to it? I mean,
why number 6?
well, yeah, I think today when I was learning about the priestly blessing, is there like six blessings within that? And that's
Yeah. Of course, there's a number. Of course, there must be something.
yeah. So because that's my most recent learning today. Now you're saying six wagons, and I'm thinking, that
Must be something there. Definitely, yeah. Because the simple answer is because that's how much 6. You didn't need more than 6, as I just the whole talk. But what's significant of 6 to? I don't know. I'm thinking. I don't know if it's a good explanation, but I'll tell you anyway. Maybe 6 corresponds to 6 days of the week because he couldn't carry on Shabbos. He couldn't travel. He couldn't work in the Mishkan on Shabbos. Only 6 days you can work. You can carry the Mishkan. You're only able to build on the weekday. You weren't able to work on it on Shabbos.
Yeah.
So maybe 6 corresponds to the 6 days of the week, and 7 to Shabbos. Maybe I'm just thinking.
I don't know. It's a good thought, right?
As you asked me the question, that came to my mind. If
yeah. Yeah, because always there's something more in
absolutely.
And what is the gematria like 6? Does it have a like 18?
Oh, the right. Sheish is 600. Shin is 3, and Shin is 600. Maybe also 6. There we go. Shin, which each letter is 6, is 300. So it's 600 together. Very
606, and then 7 Noachide laws. There's 613. Anyway, okay.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming, for joining. Be well.
All right. Take care. Be well.
Take care.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Hey, Rabbi, I think there's a midrash that says that it's kind of based on the 6 carriages that Joseph sent to Jacob.
Oh, that's interesting.
You remember when he sent?
Yeah, it says 6.
Yes.
I think it says 10, but okay. Maybe you're talking 6. Asainos. Asain. No. It says wagon. I know if it has 6 wagon. Excuse me. It says asainos. 10 asain, donkeys.
Yes.
But it doesn't say 6. 6 wagons. Okay.
I think that's I think that's what I remember, but I think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All the best.
Bye, you too.